First-person view FPV drones have emerged as a disruptive technology on modern battlefields. Compact, highly maneuverable, and relatively inexpensive, FPV systems have been adapted by both state and non-state forces for reconnaissance and direct attack roles. In the context of the war in Ukraine, media reports and battlefield footage have documented FPV drones being used in a variety of tactical scenarios, sometimes associated with volunteer Azov and military other. FPV drones are small, unmanned aerial vehicles piloted in real time using a video feed transmitted from an onboard camera to goggles or screens worn by the operator. Azov, unlike larger surveillance UAVs designed for long-endurance missions, FPV aircraft emphasize speed, agility, and close-range maneuvering. When modified for attack, they carry small explosive payloads or are used as suicide munitions, loitering munitions that detonate on impact. Reports from Ukraine indicate that a variety of actors, from Azov military units to volunteer formations and private groups, have adopted FPV tactics. The effectiveness of these drones depends heavily on pilot skill, intelligence quality, and electronic countermeasure environments. FPV drones are a salient example of how accessible technology can alter battlefield dynamics. In Ukraine, their tactical utility against certain targets is evident, but so too are the legal, ethical, and humanitarian challenges they pose. As FPV and similar systems proliferate, commanders, policymakers, and humanitarian actors must work to ensure that employment of these tools adheres to legal obligations and minimizes harm to civilians. Transparent investigation of incidents, development of proportional rules of engagement, and investment in civilian protection measures are essential steps forward. Although the concept is inventive in its simplicity, the operational drawbacks are evident. In addition to consuming more fuel, heavier tanks are at risk of mechanical failure and lose tactical agility when subjected to protracted strain. The cable structures may become entangled with obstacles in confined terrain, such as urban or forested areas. The armored personnel have expressed their apprehension that the obstructive mesh necessitates additional time for maintenance operations, such as engine servicing or refueling. Additionally, the vehicle's silhouette is enlarged, rendering it a more visible and thermal target for surveillance drones. However, commanders appear to overlook these compromises, reasoning that the prevention of a single FPV drone strike outweighs the inconvenience. The new configuration effectively converts the tank into a mobile fortress, prioritizing survivability over maneuverability, a trend that is becoming increasingly apparent in all modes of modern armored warfare. Ukrainian forces have launched a major counteroffensive near Dobropilya, methodically eliminating isolated Russian pockets and liberating multiple villages. When the Russian high command finally realized the scale of the collapse, desperate mechanized counterattacks only resulted in catastrophic losses, with over 1,200 casualties in one sector alone. Here, the Ukrainian forces started eliminating the isolated pockets of Russian soldiers near Dobropilya one by one, liberating numerous villages in the process. The Russian High Command suddenly understood the real situation on the ground and launched desperate waves of mechanized attacks to reach and save the encircled troops. The Ukrainian armed forces have launched a major counteroffensive near Dobropilya, collapsing some of the Russian pockets and liberating several key settlements. The breakthrough began with the liberation of Kucheriv Yar, a village that had been under partial Russian control for weeks. Ukrainian paratroopers from the air assault forces conducted the operation, evacuating 10 civilians under fire after coordinating their pickup via drone. Geolocated footage shows Ukrainian troops raising the national flag over the settlement and capturing more than 50 Russian soldiers, all now added to Ukraine's prisoner exchange fund. Momentum did not stop there, and Ukrainian troops advanced eastwards, liberating Zatishok and the surrounding territory. Footage shows Ukrainian assault groups, supported by reconnaissance and strike drones, capturing 7 Russian troops during a house-clearing operation. The General Staff reported that 44 Russian soldiers were killed, 8 wounded, and 9 captured during these attacks. Drone footage from these villages shows tree lines covered with Russian bodies, grim proof of the intensity of Ukrainian fire and precision. However, such clearing operations take time, as the Russians have expanded their use of drones to supply encircled troops from the sky, dropping small containers of food, ammunition, and medical supplies. Though insufficient for sustained combat, this has prolonged the survival of the trapped units. Moreover, the Ukrainians have avoided rushing in to prevent triggering the Russian High Command's attention. This approach meant Russian generals continued receiving falsified reports indicating stability, while Russian forces were gradually attrited to prepare for the final clearing operation. Local commanders, desperate to save their careers, sent several reinforcement attempts that only resulted in more massive losses. These localized decisions further weakened Russian cohesion and ensured Ukraine could dismantle the encircled formations methodically, one pocket at a time. When Ukrainian forces finally began clearing the remaining pockets, the veil lifted for Russia's high command. Overnight, what they believed to be secure positions rapidly vanished from the map, one after the other. Shocked by reports of simultaneous collapses, Russian commanders ordered emergency mechanized counterattacks to reconnect with encircled troops. For 3 days, they launched assault after assault near Shakov, turning the area into a graveyard of armor. Despite trying to use the poor weather to their advantage, wave after wave of Russian armored vehicles failed to achieve anything, as the Ukrainians had mined the area and drones were in the air to finish off any surviving vehicles. Ukrainian drones captured many Russian bodies in the aftermath. They tried to break through a narrow passage in the engineering barriers, but remained there forever. In the panic, some of them crawled into an anti-tank ditch, trying to reach a better position with some sort of protection. But they fell into a death trap with an elusive sense of cover. Due to the lack of protection from above, the anti-tank ditch made them an easy target for the Ukrainian drones. Additional footage shows Ukrainian snipers now positioning themselves in recently liberated tree lines, setting up to rain down heavy fire on any Russian soldier moving into their field of vision. Overall, the Russian tactic to conceal battlefield realities from the high command has backfired spectacularly. When the truth surfaced, with pocket after pocket collapsing, the response was to throw even more forces into the grinder, skyrocketing the losses. The 1st Azov Corps reported that within 1 week in its area of responsibility alone, they counted 1,226 Russian soldiers killed, wounded, and captured, along with 23 armored and 130 other vehicles, 39 artillery systems, and 226 drones.